Have you noticed in the league, in Conference USA specifically, that they're shifting and grabbing coaches from P5 schools like Butch Davis and Mitchell?
Well, I think there's great coaches in this league. I think there's great players in this league. But you go back and look at the job that Seth Luttrell has done at North Texas. I mean, and to see what he walked into and to where that program is now, to see what Lane Kiffin walked into, and now to see what he's doing, to see Butch Davis at FIU taking them to a bowl game, this year. I think there's really good football coaches in this league, and there's really good players. And I'm just excited to have the opportunity to be part of it.
Is this the most parity you've seen so far in the league?
Yeah, I would especially say in the West. I mean, when you start talking about the West Division, you start talking about, I'll go North Texas, UAB, Southern Miss, and Louisiana Tech, the first top 4 teams. All of those were one-point games or overtime games, every one of them. And so you look at it, I think, the winner of this league is, one play away from somebody else winning it. That's how close it's been when you look at it. So I think there's great parity in the West Division for sure. I look at UTSA, which Coach Wilson, the job that he's done building that program, and then you have 2 new coaches at Rice and UTEP. So I think that a lot of parity in this league. Everybody's going to keep getting better, and everybody's going to keep challenging. But you know that it's going to be one play is going to make the difference in winning or losing the conference championship.
So you got to give yourself and your staff credit because everybody's improved and got better. But Louisiana Tech has always been in that conversation in your entire time there. How have you improved as a coach in the last 6 years?
Well, I think you learn a lot about your program, and not just going in and saying, okay, we got to win. We won one year, we have a good player, what I mean? But we've won 4 bowl games with 4 different quarterbacks, and then for the first year having our quarterback coming back. This will be the first year since I've been there. We have the same quarterback 2 years in a row, which I think speaks volumes for the job that the assistant coaches have done, the players have done, the program that we're building. Louisiana Tech's a great place. There's a lot of good things about that place. I think the community and Ruston and the way that it embraces the university, the relationship between the university and the community, the players, the talent that's in the state that we've had an opportunity to keep there, the coaches that have been there to have success. It's been a lot of fun building it, but we're very blessed with some very talented players and coaches to help us have success.
Yeah, as a North Texas fan, I get frustrated. You bring in these transfers for 1 year, these QBs.
Right.
A couple of years ago,
Jeff Driscoll,
Cody
Sokol.
He went over to the Niners,
Yep.
and you're just maintaining this consistency by identifying these players and that fit your system, bringing them in.
Right.
Is that just the coaching staff going and finding these guys, the right guys, or is it more like a product of the system?
Well, probably a little bit of both. I mean, I think there's a lot of transfers has become part of it, of what people do now, especially graduate transfers, and there's a lot of them out there, but everyone doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Just because a guy's out there, I'd rather not have one than take the wrong one.
Sure.
But sometimes when you'll get into some situations where it will fit the situation, it'll fit the system, and fit the situation, and it works. And that's what happened with Cody Sokol and Jeff Driscoll. We made the decision not to take a transfer with Jamar Smith being a sophomore last year and coming back this year as a junior, not to take one the last couple of years. And we feel like we've got some good young quarterbacks that are growing in our program that we're going to have a chance with. And so, losing a lot of close games last year, hopefully maturing as a football program and a football team with a lot of those guys coming back was going to help us take another step forward this year.
So those close games you mentioned, because you mentioned that separates you from being just another team from being a division champ.
Yes.
Was that youth? Was that injuries? What was that?
I think all of it plays a role. I don't want to be naive enough to say it was just youth. I think we got to do a better job as coaches. We got to look hard at what we did late in the games. We got to look at what we called in the fourth quarter. We got to look at the youth. Was it mistakes? Was it plays that we'd run all game and then late in the game in the fourth quarter you make a mistake? I mean, some of that goes into youth. Was it what we did as coaches? Was it what we called? We've got we've done a lot in this off season about finishing, about fourth quarter and how important that is, and tried to incorporate that into into some of our summer conditioning drills and what we're doing. We've taken a hard look at what we're doing with our practice schedules and how much we're going to emphasize those type of things during the fall camp. I think we have to look at all of it. We can't sit and say, oh, it was just that. Oh, it was just this. And then you go through the season and go, oh, wow, it happened again. I guess it wasn't that. So it's one of those ones that you got to look at it. We got to change it.
Yeah.
And that's my job as the head coach, and that's why we are taking a hard look at everything. And it's kind of a heightened awareness right now in our program and with our players. And hopefully if we can cure those things, like I said, we would have went from 7 to 11 wins last year.
I was going to say, I think there's something special about when you guys play a bowl game in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think you've won all of the ones except the Cotton Bowl, right? You just got to win that one. The jersey.
Well, I mean, we have won with the 4 games in a row, the one New Orleans Bowl, but then having, playing over in Fort Worth and that Military Bowl, which was a great experience in the Fort Worth area, and what a great time our players had there, and then being down in Dallas and playing in the Heart of Dallas Bowl and the job that they do with that bowl game and having the opportunity to beat Illinois there, and then the awesome experience in Frisco where we are today, and just the way that this whole area has grown and what it's doing and how it's taken off right now. And to come here and to have a chance to play a team like SMU and to be able to win 51-10, I think was a pretty nice feather in our cap as a program to have an opportunity to come here and win that. And Dallas is a huge area for our alumni base. We have a huge alumni that make that track down I-20 for that 3.5 hours, 4 hours to get to Ruston every week that we have a home game, and it's not too far. And again, that's all part of what makes it a lot of fun to have the opportunity to come here to the Dallas area. But this area is really special to us as a program, and a big part of our student population comes from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and a large number of our alumni come back to this area once they've graduated from Louisiana Tech.
Well, you've rewarded them with some nice bowl wins here, so.
Going back to your pastors, you've brought in some very good pastors, and now you've got this young guy, Jamar Smith. Is that the type of identity you were trying to create, a passing team, or does it not matter to your offense?
No, we need to throw the ball. I mean, we need to throw the ball to win. I think every year you've got to evaluate what your strengths and weaknesses are. But right now, when you look at the way we have done it to this point, we've done it with throwers. I mean, we've done it when you talk about some of those guys. We've gone from 4,000 to 4,700 yards, I think, is what they've thrown for. And Jamar threw for 3,000 last year as a sophomore. And I'd like to see those numbers go up. And hopefully, if we can stay a little bit healthier this year with our wide receivers and our offensive line, and Jamar being a year older and having a little bit better understanding of what we're doing, hopefully we'll see those numbers improve as well.
And on the defensive side, in terms of passing, in a pass-first league like Conference USA, how do you prepare that defense?
Well, I mean, you got to do it 2 ways. You got to be really solid in your secondary, and having young guys like Meek Robertson and some of the young guys that are stepping in on defense really makes a difference. But you also have to be able to put a pass rush on it. You know what I mean? And that's something that you can't take for granted.
I think we're good there.